Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Arsenal. We are back again with Cozy for another podcast. Fabrizio Romano has been speaking about Nico Williams, who had an incredible performance against Italy last night. Obviously, we're linked to him. We'll be talking about the latest on that. And Gyokeres back in the news. According to Sport Witness, Arsenal are very close to signing Gyokeres. We will be discussing that as well. But first, Cozy, how are you?
Perfect. Of course, big Spain fan here. We've just got another clean sheet, another win. Nico Williams, we're going to talk about, has had an incredible game. And I think if Arsenal have scouts at the Euros, this is the time. Obviously, I'm one of the scouts here, right, on YouTube. If they could just take my word, sign him right now. But I'm perfect. I'm really perfect.
Absolutely. So let's get started right away. So I'll bring up a couple on screen. So according to Fabrizio Romano on playback, he said Nico Williams is appreciated by people at Chelsea and people at Arsenal, and there are other clubs, including Barcelona. So we already know that Arsenal are linked to him. Chelsea is always going to be everywhere. Don't worry about Chelsea. Chelsea doesn't really worry me that much. I know they took Modric, but they are always going to be linked to anyone. But obviously, a couple of weeks ago, this was what was reported from Court Offside. Arsenal are planning to make a move for Nico Williams this month after following his development for some time. Sources have told Court Offside Arsenal's interest in Williams, who has a 50 million euro release clause in his contract, is driven by Mikel Arteta. So, because we watched Nico Williams against Italy, he was very good. I mean, he was very good to the point where he was picked up man of the match, as you can see on screen. He was absolutely incredible. That left side, the way he gets past the player, the way he can dribble past 2-3 players, he can take a shot. Sometimes he can cross the ball and all that. Do you think it's a no-brainer complete? Like, even if it's the first signing, like they tell us, okay, you're not really going to get a striker right now or midfielder. We've decided to focus on the winger. Let's focus on Nico Williams before the end of the month. Would you be like, yeah, for sure, focus on him first? If he's available, focus on him first.
There are only three players that can whip in a cross at this tournament at the Euros with either of their feet, left foot and right feet, and it is perfect. Ivan Perisic, Kevin De Bruyne, and Nico Williams. Williams is a no-brainer. Williams is a no-brainer. When he plays on the left wing for Spain, you think he's like he's like naturally left-footed. Therefore, his right foot has got to be weak. The goal he almost scored against Italy, towards the end of the game, the cracker was with his right foot. He is unbelievable. I do not have enough words to explain this boy. I don't have enough, jargons to throw around for Nico Williams. But let's say, for purposes of this podcast, we are just talking about a sensation of the talent. And of course, really, Spain, I've got a couple of them. But Nico Williams is a sensation. Is it a no-brainer? For me, I think Mikel Arteta has done well in terms of scouting. It was done well in terms of scouting. They have followed Nico Williams. This is not the first time we have had his name. It's not the first transfer window. We had him in January 2022. We had him in the summer of 2022. But I think by then, Atletico Bilbao were not really willing to sell, and his release clause was not yet mature, at that point in time. These Euros have just opened up everybody's eyes about this boy, everybody's eyes about how great a talent he is. He's under a manager that understands him. At Spain, he's worked with him through the youth ranks, and he's literally playing him on the left hand side. At Bilbao, he plays on the right hand side. By the way, predominantly plays there. And again, he is immense, right? So for me, if Arsenal can go and do this deal, I don't think I don't want to say he wins that stage. I don't want to put all that kind of pressure into him, but I would say 100% improves that forward line. 100% makes us a much better team in terms of attacking. Gives us very different things on the left hand side. With Gabriel Martinelli, you have, for me in the Premier League, one player I trust to beat a winger 1v1 on the left hand side. I trust him 1v1. So imagine you take off Gabriel Martinelli and you bring on, Inaki, you bring on Nico Williams. I mean, his brother is Inaki. I get to confuse them at times. But you bring on Nico Williams, who is incredible. Or I've seen a report from Sami Makpo that last season, Bukayo Saka had a big wound on his leg. He had he was covering it up. And when the medical team got to see it, one day later, Saka proclaimed himself ready to play. He said, I'm ready to go. So imagine Arsenal lose Saka, maybe like we lost him for the last game of the season, and you have Nico Williams, I don't think you would feel it the same way we are scared, we are terrified, we are petrified to lose Saka at the moment. So for me,
Yeah.
it's a no-brainer. It's a good deal. It is 50 million euros. It's a bargain, guys. We've talked about a 100 million bargain for Declan Rice. This would be the real definition of a bargain for such a player.
Now, we've said he can play both sides, left and right. Now, do you see more if he ends up joining us? Do you see more being used on the left, on the right? And which one specifically would you want him to be used in? Because you already have Trossard on the left and Martinelli. That will mean 3, unless you change the role for one of them. Or do you actually see him as, a rotation with Saka? You play Saka today, Saka comes off, Nico Williams comes on, Nico Williams starts, Saka rests for this game. Or do you think play him both, rotate him with Saka, rotate him with Martinelli, Trossard comes in as well, just confuse opponents completely depending on the game?
Now, I've always admired the cheat code they have at City in Jeremy Doku. And what I saw against for Belgium in their first game at the Euros with Doku, the manager played him, I think it's Tedesco, he played him on the right flank. I mean, we are used to Jeremy Doku playing on the left-hand side and his lever there. He played Doku on the right-hand side, and that game, I think, I don't want to lie, beautiful performance. I don't want to hate against Doku, beautiful performance. So for me, with Nico Williams, let him be the cheat code. Let him be the cheat code that Arsenal have. We have, in this team, we've got a couple of cheat codes. I think I was watching one of my favorite podcasters, James Lawrence Alcott, and was talking about the cheat codes in Arsenal. And he said, Saka is a cheat code. Odegaard is a cheat code. Now they're bringing in Declan Rice. Declan Rice is a cheat code. He never gets injured. He's always there. Never gets a bad game. Like, he literally is always there. Nico Williams would be the real definition of a cheat code in a squad like Arsenal's. Like, imagine you have a 21-year-old who can play on the left-hand side and the right-hand side, but you have a guy that is really creative and really on scoring goals. You have a guy that defenders cannot predict. Is he going to go on the inside? Is he going to go on the outside? Is he going to shoot? Is he going to lay it across? I would really want to see him in a free, in a free undefined role, in the squad, right? So that when he comes on, and we know he's coming on for Saka, we expect something. When he comes on and he comes on for Martinelli, we expect something different. I think there have been so many times when our game has been stale, and that comes from the fact that we attack a lot from the right-hand side. We play a lot of our game from the right-hand side. And there are times when Trossard has not worked, the times when Gabriel Martinelli has not worked, the times when Saka has not worked. The one thing we saw with Spain in the first 2 games at the tournament, in the first game, their attack was channeled through Lamine Yamal. And I'll tell you, Nico Williams didn't have a very great game, and he wasn't as busy, against Albania. Against Italy, Spain channeled all their attacks through Nico Williams, and Lamine Yamal was very, very silent. And he didn't have a top game, but we know how good both of them are. So I think that is what Arsenal are lacking, and that's what Nico Williams would bring. And I don't want him to be specifically a backup for Saka. I don't like that kind of nonsense. I want a bigger squad, a squad that is dynamic, a squad that would allow us to cheat. A few buttons, just press a few buttons, and then you switch it. When you play against a player like Aaron Van Bissaka, we know that Saka struggles against players like that. Bissaka, Dan Ban at Newcastle, they literally get the better of him. So I would want a player like Williams against those defenders, because what he's got, he doesn't look to cut in just. He can take you to the byline, he can hug the touchline, and he will beat you from there. And he can also cut inside. So I see him as a player that comes in at Arsenal, and every 70 minutes, we know he comes on. But I won't be surprised for 50 million euros, him being a Mikel Arteta signing, if someone drops. And I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say anyone's name here because I might be attacked. Kossi, you don't like this player. Kossi, you don't like this player. I'm not going down that route. But I want to tell you, if you're looking for a cheat code on the market right now, if Arsenal are looking to better their forward line and we don't have a striker ready, right, ready to
Yeah.
bring in, Nico Williams is a sensational option.
Now, his numbers last season, in terms of creativity, his numbers were really good. He
Incredible, yeah.
picked up 17 assists in all competitions. And to get numbers like that is not easy. I mean, we always imagine Odegaard can do it, but I don't think he's ever hit 17 assists, not yet. Saka probably gotten a close a couple of times, but hitting 17 assists, I don't even think it takes like all the free kicks and all the corners for Bilbao. And you
No.
can get assists like from open play, numerous of them. That's really good in terms of creativity. And on top of that, it gets 8 goals. Now, I remember I asked you a question like 2 weeks ago or something. I'll put that question to you again. You're not worried about him getting 8 goals and 17 assists. Would you like to have a balance there, 12 goals, 12 assists, instead of just 0 goals, 20 assists? Would you like him to add to his numbers in terms of goals?
No, not at all. I think again, when we were talking before the show, we said football has changed a lot and roles have become really predetermined and really defined, in front of players. When you brought in under Mikel Arteta and you are a winger, if you're a left winger, you expect to score more goals because that is the role of in that position. That is the role. When you play for Mikel Arteta and you're playing on the right, because there is a lot of creative ounce and numbers and talent on Arsenal's right hand side. Ben White, Martin Odegaard, Saka, whoever. You are expected to create a lot, and eventually in your numbers it will show. You will create a lot. You might score a lot of goals because again Arsenal attack a lot from the right hand side, but your numbers will show that creativity. Think about Ben White's creative numbers, even if not in terms of assists, but in terms of how much he has created, right? Brought in good crosses, this and that. The same for Saka, the same for Martin Odegaard. I really don't care about how many goals he scores or how many times he assists. It's that impact I'm looking for games. And I think this was more under Arsene Wenger. Arsene Wenger could bring on a player like Rosicky, and Rosicky wouldn't score or assist, but the game would just change. The tide would just change. I think Wenger was so good at that. He would just bring on. He had his own cheat codes. Like he would throw on a Rosicky. He's one of the players I really remember. He loved bringing on Rosicky when games were not in our favor, and games would change. And you would listen to the radio or you'd watch the game, and you're like, this guy just running through the midfield, right, up and down, with and without the ball, has changed the ball. I think the game that is Williams. He's got the ability to affect games. He's got the ability to just confuse opponents. He's got the ability to get opponents worried. He's got the ability to, cause a lot of emotional change, in the back line and defensive structures of teams. So if he can get me 15 assists a season, right, and maybe 5 to 9 goals every season consecutively, I'm definitely okay, because I know the system we are playing and why Arsenal are not very big on a striker is Mikel wants everyone to be involved in the goals. Mikel wants everyone to play their part in creating and scoring the goals. So I'm not really very worried about goals and assists, unless if he's a starter and I know he's playing 90 minutes every single season. There I'll demand at least 10 plus goals and 10 plus assists every single season.
Impact is a key word. We want someone who, now I love every single Arsenal player. Whoever starts, whoever comes on. Like there's a time I felt like, okay, whoever starts between White and Tomiyasu, Martinelli and Trossard, whoever is okay. But there's a couple of times you feel like you look at the bench and you're like, is there anyone who can come in and completely have an impact on the game and totally change the direction of the game? And you're definitely going to win that game. Like for Doku, sometimes you can tell. He can come on and defenders will be like, oh, Doku is coming on. Base is going to go past 4 or 5 players. That scares players. For us, it depends. Sometimes we know Jesus coming on from Ketty, you're like, okay, that's good. Let's see what is going to happen. Sometimes Trossard coming on, you're like, okay, let's see what is going to happen. But maybe it's not going to like completely flip a game around like a De Bruyne would. Now, having someone like a Nico Williams or even Saka on the bench, like whoever is coming on here, absolutely fine. And a couple of times as well, we can't really do like for like changes. Like if you take out Saka,
We
You
can't
look at
bring
the
on
bench,
anyone.
like Fabio Villa is different. It's going to play differently. If you play Trossard on the right side, it's going to play differently. They're not like as direct as Saka. Sometimes you make changes here and there, it's going to be not the same. But if you're taking out Saka after he's destroyed a fullback for 60 minutes, or as you said, if Danban gets better of him, and Danman is like, yeah, I've gotten the better of Saka here. He sees Nico Williams coming on for the last 35 minutes. He's like, oh, I need to go again. I'm tired. Like, I need to go again. The different winger that would scare them. The opposition coach would not know whether he's about to bring Nico Williams on the right together with Saka, or Saka on the right, or Nico Williams on the left, together with Saka on the right side as well. He not know what the manager is planning to do. So Nico Williams, the reason I wanted Bakayoko as well, someone like for like on that wing, someone who can dribble past defenders. He's very good in terms of dribbling, and in terms of what I asked you in terms of goals and assists. As long as he gets me a goal contribution and he creates chances and all that, I'm absolutely fine with that. Even if you get 25 assists and 0 goals, as long as you're contributing returns and defenders are getting scared seeing you, and it's an international player who's done it. He's done it for Bilbao. The reason I brought up that goal thing is because obviously last season he got 8 goals and 17 assists. A couple of seasons ago, he actually played more than 30 La Liga games with 0 goals. So I was like, who is he? But obviously that was 2 years ago. He could have been like 19. You mentioned his age is about to turn 22 next month. I think July sometime. July is going to turn 22. So he's still a lot to improve, So do you think he's still raw? Do you think he is close to a finished product, even though he's young? It just like he wouldn't need too much time to adapt.
He's very far away. He's very, very, very far away. I think, working with supporting a group of young players, what it has told us is young players need a lot of time to develop. Like, there are phases they go through that you never expected. Arsenal fans, including myself, I don't know about you, but we thought that the moment Arsenal failed to win the title in 2020 to 2023, we were definitely going to win it 2023, 2024. And the only reason as to why Arsenal didn't win the title last season, again, we've got to pick that maturity, and we've got to pick from, again, Lodri's statement that when we went to Man City away, we were the team in form. We were the team that was supposed to ask for the 3 points. It wasn't Man City. When we played Aston Villa at home, we were the team that was supposed to ask the questions, and not Aston Villa. So young players go through phases, different phases, a couple of different stages. They make mistakes here and there. They learn from this and that. You look at Odegaard when he came in. We were one of the things I always talked about Odegaard was he's afraid to take risks. He's afraid to to do the great things that impact the game. And Odegaard of the last 2 seasons, incredible. In terms of scoring goals, you expect him to finish. When there is a chance in the penalty area and Odegaard is on it, I'm calm. I'm sitting back, I'm popping champagne, I'm having popcorn because I know he's going to finish it, and he does finish it. And in terms of breaking through the lines, FC Porto kind of goal for assist for Trossard, he's got to do that. So he's taking more risks, and that will have been in the coaching to encourage him and to make him see the inner man in himself. With Nico Williams, I think the situations he gets into and the positions he gets into, that's already enough to show you that this is a player that just needs a little bit of guidance. That when do you shoot and when do you not shoot? When do you pass? Yes, you're assisting a lot, but don't you think that there are times when you should take it on? Don't you think there are times when you've beaten 2-3 players in the penalty area, and although there is a pass on, there is also a shot on? So there's a lot to improve in his game. There's a lot of runnings in his game. He's got a lot of talent, so he's too confident at times. At times I've looked at him for Bilbao, and I'm like, don't do that. You already have Inaki Williams making that run. Just slide it down. And he still wants to beat 2-3 players because he's got that ability. And by the time you beat 2-3 players, the whole team is now back in numbers, and they can now defend properly. So he's not near the finish article anywhere, just like Doku is not, just like Saka is not, just like Martinelli is not. I think the finished article, you talk about a player like Trossard coming in, because Trossard gets in an area that the manager didn't tell him to be, and the opposition didn't expect him to be, and he finishes off in a way that you expect prime Robin van Persie to finish off. So I think that is the finished article in a player like Leandro Trossard. But again, the rawness and the fact that he's not complete and the fact that you don't know what to expect out of him makes them very, very exciting. Again, one of the things that City have in Doku is a player they can bring on in big games. Like he came on
Yeah.
against Real Madrid, against an experienced Cavallal and Nacho, and one of the most defenders I admire in Rudiger in modern football, and he really gave them real big problems. Like he stops and starts at a very incredible pace. For me, Williams and Doku, if you put them in the same team, you have problems. But definitely, one of them is going to be in London, and the other should be in Manchester Blue. So for me, Williams, not the finished article, but will be a big surprise to many teams.
Now, will he be in London at Arsenal or the other different teams? So I'll ask you this. If you're Nico Williams bias aside, you have the chance to stay at Bilbao or the teams that Fabrizio said. You have the chance of going to Arsenal, you have the chance to go to Chelsea, and you have the chance to go to Barcelona. Same league, but bigger club who's going to be fighting for the title. What would be your decision on this transfer? Which one do you think will be better for him at by that time he's going to be 22? Which should you think is his better decision? Going to the Arsenal project, maybe not sure about whether it's going to start every day. Going to the Chelsea project, maybe he gets that left side permanently ahead of Mudryk. I've seen a couple of Chelsea fans saying he should go there and replace Mudryk. Or do you think go to Barcelona? Or do you think stay at Bilbao for a couple of seasons, see how far you're going to grow, maybe for Real Madrid or someone?
Chelsea fans, they trigger me. If you're Nico Williams right now, you're looking at two things, by the way. You're looking at playing at a bigger club to further your career, but also you're looking at that Spain left wing position that you have conquered. Spain have a lot of talent that is coming through in that position. Dani Olmo is there; he's not playing. We have we have one of the Villarreal wingers as well. I just forget his name. Arsenal were linked with him a couple of seasons ago. Still very young and very, very good as well. Again, he's not playing. He's not playing.
Ayoze Perez playing as well.
I mean, you have the likes of Ayoze Perez, that you're keeping out of the team. So one of the priorities for Junior is going to be, can I get a bigger team where I can further my career, win trophies, get bigger salaries, and become a legend? That's number one. But also, secondly, his second question is going to be, where do I keep my starting place at Spain? And I'm not going to lie, that is at Barcelona, because when you play for Barcelona, you're almost guaranteed that you will start for Spain. So I won't be surprised. I am not surprised when he says his dream is to play for Barcelona and he wants to go to Barca, although Barca might not have the 50 million euros this summer. But for me, if I was Nico, the best position would be under Mikel Arteta. The best position would be under a young project at Arsenal. At the moment, I wouldn't say there is one player on the flanks that Nico Williams cannot, throw out of that starting 11. No one. No one would be safe against him. Saka, because he's English, maybe, and of course of his importance and longevity in the Premier League, but also longevity for Arsenal. Player of the season 2 times. I think he was unfairly not voted among the top 3. Again, his numbers were incredible. But that is the one player that you'll be looking to say, if I cannot keep Saka out of the starting 11, I'm going to play beside him in the starting 11. I think there's a lot of freedom and there's a real opportunity for to be taken at Arsenal. And I also think that in terms of winning trophies, Arsenal are the next big giant to get their hands on silverware. We don't know when, right? And that's why we're still recruiting players to strengthen this side. So I think he would have a bigger impact at a club like Arsenal, because it's a whole team of young players, and you're just coming to see us over the line, right? So you're not coming to struggle and play in a struggling side. All your attacking ounce is going to be utilized very well. All your attacking talent is going to be utilized very well in a team that is dominating a lot of football, in a team that is favorite to win games at least 90% of the games that we are playing. So I think Arsenal is the best destination. Chelsea, not a chance. How many wingers do they have? Madueke, Sterling, Mudryk. We can spend a whole hour. Palmer. We can spend a whole hour talking about wingers that Chelsea are about to sign, they already have, and those ones that are out on loan. I don't think, unless it's the manager Maresca that has asked for him. And again, you don't know how long Maresca is going to be there. You don't know. They cannot keep a manager, so I don't think that's a good project for him. So for me, it's between Barcelona and Arsenal. At Barca, he knows if I can get into Barca, which he can at the moment, he can start. He can keep his starting position for Spain. At Arsenal, I think he risks being a David Dryer. You're good, but because you're not playing in Spain, you're not playing the principle of Catanasian, Catalonia principles. Maybe you're left out, but I wouldn't really see that happen. I think Arsenal is the best destination for such a player.
Would you believe it? I also think Arsenal is the best destination for him, and he should be joining Arsenal. So let us know what you guys make of Nico Williams. 50 million release clause, 50 million euro release clause. I think that's a very good price. But there's obviously teams like Barcelona and Chelsea that want him. So let's see what happens to that. So the 17 assists that he got, because if he comes to Arsenal and does the same, he'll be giving that to Havertz, to Saka, to all the other players. But will he be giving a couple of assists to this guy, Gyokeres? Now he's back in the news, and the latest news on Viktor Gyökeres. Let's discuss this. The news from Sport Witness: Arsenal are very close to signing Viktor Gyökeres from Sporting CP, with only financial details holding up the transfer. Now they say only financial details, though I think that is the most complicated thing in terms of that deal anyway. So the only add on because that's the most complicated thing. So I wouldn't really go as far as saying very, very close, because financial is the most difficult thing, because they want more than is it someone actually corrected me the other day, something to do with the pounds and stuff. It's actually less than 90 million if you look at it.
It's
in
85 million pounds. It's 85 million
pounds. So around just like 100 million euros. That is. So it will got you 100 million euros, but only 85 million pounds. So I think that's the biggest stumbling block. So I don't think it's only financial details. If we had already finished the financial details and you're only trying to sort out wages, maybe in terms of him and not the transfer fee, then maybe it could have been easier. But in terms of Gyökeres, now he had a very good season. I think 58 goal contributions is crazy. 43 goals, 15 assists. There's first of all, do you think it's a lucky season? Before you answer that question, I'll bring for you his stats, because those numbers are incredible, assists and goals. But people are saying it was just one season to Sporting, whatever, it's not really done it. So I'll bring for you the stats, but I want you to answer that question first. Like, do you think it's a lucky season? Do you think it's like in his career, he'll never really like replicate those kind of numbers? Or do you think it plays like Odegaard, he can even double that?
Lucky season happens when you're playing with a set of crap players and you stand out, and you are, you don't have the circumstances to replicate what you've done. What Viktor Gyökeres found at Sporting Lisbon. By the way, we had played Sporting Lisbon before Gyökeres signed for them, right?
Yeah.
And Sporting Lisbon had knocked out Arsenal out of the Europa League at our own ground in a season where Arsenal were the most improved team in Europe, apart from Sporting. And we were humiliated by Sporting, right? But what we saw in that Sporting side was, one, they had a very, very organized manager in Ruben Amorim. They had a very good, they still have a very good backline in Inacio, Diamonde, a couple of other players I don't remember. They have a very good midfield, right? The likes of Pedro Goncalves. They have, I don't think that Sporting have fallen from heaven as a miracle. This is a work in progress. And they scouted Viktor Gyökeres, and they have looked at him for quite some time, and they've said they've taken probably 5 months or 3 months on this striker, and they're saying, with Pedro Goncalves making these runs, with Marcus Edwards making these runs and creating these chances, we need to bring in a player like Viktor Gyökeres. He's going to work for us. They brought him in, and he's worked for them, and he scored lots of goals. That is how a proper team works. Are Arsenal a proper team? Do we have a proper system? Do we have proper management? Are we one of the best run clubs in the world? Yes, we are. So if Arsenal are saying, we do not see Gyökeres fit into our season, our system, well and good, don't bring him in. If Gyökeres went to Chelsea right now, whole season, I think he scores like 8 goals. If he goes to a club like Newcastle right now, whole season, he might score like 12 goals, right? If he goes to Everton, 3 to 4 goals a whole season, right? Yes, it's for me. Again, football and players and player profiles have changed to what you're preparing to do with that player vis-a-vis what that player can do. We've seen Kai Havertz. Like Kai Havertz came in at Arsenal, and many people out there on Twitter and YouTube said this is wastage of money. And Mikel knew that this guy has this and these qualities for my project, and this is what I want to do with him. And we have seen it. We have seen him working. And he's done things that we never expected he would do. And some of us have done apology videos already. Some people that are shameless are still saying it won't work. It has already worked, mate. So for me, Gyökeres is not a one-season wonder. Gyökeres has had 2 seasons at the top, and he has qualities that managers are looking at, and they are saying, this guy is doing this and this, and he's just what we need. So for me, you cannot tell me, 20 goals, one season wonder, 15 goals, one season wonder. What he has done, those are not, in terms of GA, in terms of assisting just, there is no player that is assisting and scoring 50, in a season, and he's a one season wonder. That season he's had reminds us of the season Kevin De Bruyne had at Wolfsburg before he came in at Man City. He had 50 goal contributions in that season, Kevin De Bruyne. And this boy has gone and replicated that. And the disrespect on his name is disgusting, like really purely disgusting. You cannot say this guy has won Sporting the title, against Benfica and against FC Porto by contributing such amount of numbers in a well-prepared system, by the way. And you're saying he doesn't replicate that in even a much better system like Arsenal's, like Brighton's. I even reckon this guy would score the same number of goals if the opposition he goes against is weaker at a club like Brighton, because again, I think Brighton are well organized and their system is well drilled.
Yeah, so one lucky season. Well, let's find out. According to the numbers, the last 4 seasons he's been improving his numbers every single time. So if you look at this, the first season, the 2020-2021 season, that season he was on loan at Coventry, he played 34 games in all competitions. It scored 5 goals and 1 assist. No, not incredible. But, he was still new in England. He'd struggle in the Championship. I mean, he had already played at Swansea. He had also struggled at Swansea before. The very next season, the Championship, is very fast full season at Coventry. He played 47 games, 18 goals and 5 assists. That is 23 goal contributions after having 6. So he improved that by a lot. And then probably people said, okay, now he probably can't do more than that he cannot do more than that. He went on and played 50 games and he scored 22 goals. 22 goals in the 21 in the Championship is incredible numbers. Yeah. Those are very, very good numbers in the Championship. And on top of that, again, 12 assists, which shows us that, the assist that he had last season is not lucky. He can actually contribute to several seasons in a row. And then this past season, incredible. He played the games there just in terms of just league games, in terms of that graphic. So he played 34 and then 33 goals in all in the league only. Or actually 58 goal contributions in all. Let's just say that, because there's some numbers there that are missing. So but the 2 things that stand out for me there, obviously, first of all, I also look at the number of games. 47, 50.
33 goals. Wow.
The number of games he's playing, he shows that he's always available. Those numbers, you're playing 50 games, 47 games the previous season. That shows he's always available and he can play for you a full season, 38 games out of 38, even if you bring him off the bench a couple of games. Yeah. The assists, he got a whole 15 assists in all competitions this past season. And then the previous season, he had 12 for Coventry. So England and Portugal. So 2 different countries, 2 completely different leagues. But he's done it. He's done it for Coventry as well. And the kind of goals he scores, runs in behind, a couple of headers, some tap-ins, some just ferocious shots with his right foot, left foot, past the goalkeeper. Definitely not a one-season wonder. So do you think you'd go to a 3rd league, this time the Premier League, and it would be the same for him? Once again, 38 Premier League games, 20 goals, 10 assists. right away?
Well, I tell you, these days many clubs are signing players based on prospect. Arsenal
Mhm.
are about to do it. If we fail to get Seshko this summer, which is moved on, and we go and get him next summer again, that is signing a prospect. Everton did it with Beto. Newcastle did it with Isak. Man United did it with Rasmus Holland. The one thing that proven clubs want to do, you want to go and get players that have proven they have the data, they can do it. So for me, Gyokeres right now, if you're placing, if you're placing bets against his failure, you are literally winning a jackpot if he fails. Not disrespect to the Portuguese league, but I think the championship is a well drilled, difficult league with as ridiculous games as many as, I don't know, what, 50, 48? I don't know.
46 plus. They play another
46
competition
plus.
as well. The Carabao Cup, the FA
Yeah,
Cup.
as compared to the Portuguese La Liga. And this guy has gone and played through the rough, the tough, championship games. And to show you that he's actually been grilled better, he almost doubles the number of goals he scored in the championship during his time in the championship. He almost doubles. For a striker to score 33 goals in 34 games, like the players we have seen do that, like they're Erling Haaland levels, they're Hurricane levels. Remember, we are talking about 21 goals. Remember, we're talking about a 20-goal striker. In the Premier League, it is still very decent to score 15 goals. And it is incredible for you to score 20 in a season. Like 20 goals in 38 games or 35, that is incredible. So, Gyökeres is a guarantee to achieve his dream of being a superstar striker. And I was asking myself, where has this guy been like for the last 4 years? Thank you so much for bringing up that credit for me, because I've just seen that he's progressed into level to level, level to level, level to level, right? And it's the same thing we've seen with players like Robert Lewandowski, starting at the age of around 21, 22, and then he progresses. By the time he's 26, he's elite. The same thing we've seen with Benzema. The same thing we've seen with with the top strikers. I don't see anyone having a good reason against him. I don't see anyone having real backing that he cannot make it. What reason? Like, forget his numbers. He can forget those numbers, come into the Premier League and just settle in as a new player, and it's gonna bang in the goals. Like, if I always say this, at Arsenal, for you to become a striker that has worked well, all you have to do is to score more goals than Chamak, Giroud, and
Bentner.
all these Bentner, and that is not really difficult. I mean, yes, we've had the benefit, the Van Persies, we have had the Aubameyangs, but do you think he wouldn't score more goals than Lacazette? He would score more goals than Lacazette. There's no question about that. And if you're given the same games and same opportunities with a player like Mr. Ozil, he would score more goals than Olivier Giroud. So for me, again, it's a no-brainer.
That is very interesting, because those numbers are really good. Now, even if you look at those, let's use the championship season, the 50-game one.
Yeah.
If he came to Arsenal and played, okay, because it's a lot of games. Let's use the one for the Sporting one, the most recent one. If he came to Arsenal and scored half of those goals, let's say 17, and then he also chipped in with half assists, 5 or 6, that's 23 goal contributions or something. And if you go with some numbers are missing there in terms of, I think they're missing out the cup competitions or something, because he had 58 goal contributions. If he comes to Arsenal and has 29 goal contributions, that's you'd take that, right?
Yeah.
Half, you would take that. So
You take
that
it.
shows you that caliber of play is becoming. His numbers are improving every single time. And considering just in 2020, the COVID season, he only had 5 goals and 1 assist. I'm pretty sure at that time the Coventry fans were like, nah, this is not the guy. But he went in and banged in numbers for them. And he went to a different country. Probably people said, nah, if he worked in the championship, he's not going to work in the league, in the top 6 league, like in Portugal or whatever. He's not going to work there. But he went and he scored goals once again. Now, for me, he was my first choice in terms of all the strikers we were linked to. I was like, this guy, get him. And for that 85 million pounds, Cozy, I would actually take him.
I mean, I'll tell you. The only reason why I wouldn't pay as much, there are two reasons. One, I think because he's had that really, really top season, you just wouldn't want to blindly pay that
Knee
much.
injury as well.
That knee injury as well. But also, that knee injury, he picked up during the season and he played with it until the end. That is something that Saka's done. That is something that Rice does. That is
still
something.
managed to get 58 goal contributions.
Yeah. Secondly, the main reason why I wouldn't pay 85 million, it's not because I don't believe in him. It's because I believe Sporting Lisbon will budge. They will reduce on that asking price. They will 100% reduce. I think they're looking at everyone on the market and they're like, well, we thought everyone was going to want a striker. What's going on? Why isn't anyone? I mean, by now we should have seen 4-5 strikers off the market. And many of the clubs are saying, no, we don't want to pay 60 million for Tony. No, we don't want to pay 100 million for Osimhen. So I won't be surprised for them to go. He's had 50 goal contributions. This season is the best to sell. Anyone with 70 million, hello? Does anyone have 70 million? And this is a deal again that I would not expect a bidding war, but we would just wake up like the Darwin Nunes deal, and yeah, it's done.
Having a proper striker like that, imagine he comes to Arsenal and he doubles his numbers like last season, like he had doubled from Coventry to Sporting. He comes to Arsenal and doubles that and gets 66 goals. Like that's crazy. His numbers are really good, and the kind of finishes he has, as I've said, different finishes. And
the games that Arsenal want him for: Aston Villa at home last season, Aston Villa away last season. When those chances come, please don't use excuses of the pitch. Don't use excuses of the rain, Ty and Lee Judges. We don't have a number 9 that buries those chances. Simple.
So I think this is crap, what they said. Sporting will remain firm on the evaluation of Arsenal target Viktor Gyökeres with the intention of selling other first-team stars this summer instead. So you think they will budge eventually?
Viktor Gyökeres is 25 at the moment, soon turning 26, right? The rest of the players that are marketable for them are 23, 24, 22. Which one would you love to sell, quickly? A player in his profile, a player that you're going to raise good money for. Goncalo is now CEO. Clubs are going to want to give you 50 million euros or 45 million euros. Pedro Goncalves, 35 million euros to 40 million euros.
Osman Diamonde still there?
Yeah, Marcus Edwards is there. Who else? Who else is there? Osman Diamonde, again, maybe 40 million euros to 60 million euros. This is the guy that you're getting to get 70 million pounds concrete money. Like, this is the guy they are going to sell. I won't be surprised. Let someone just knock on their door with a hammer, they will open up.
They will open up. Hopefully, they will. Let us know what you make of Gyokeres. Would you take him at Arsenal for that price, or would you be patient and wait for them to drop the price? Thank you for watching. Catch up with me and Cozy on his live stream later on today, and we'll catch up with you later.